Hi, I'm Joe Bongiovanni from Kettle Pond Institute for Debt-Free Money. I want to thank Bill Still, first of all, for all of his work that he's done on behalf of monetary reform over the years. Congratulations and thanks. And I want to say that it's one of those truth in lending things that I've been banned from Karl Denninger's website for leaving comments that he felt were not exactly what, but anyway, I've been banned, so it's the only site I've ever been banned from. I want to try to say at the outset that I'm not holding it, against Mr. Denninger in terms of making this video reply, okay? And maybe we could continue the conversation we were having at that time. What I want to talk about is, Bill's interview with Denninger. After he gets off of kind of the market stuff, where either solutions are either Weimar or deflation, I think was the way he put it. Those are the two solutions based on everything that's going on right now, without exactly saying what's wrong. But later, he says, we're at the end of the rope, we're going to fall off the rope. So can't have a decline in the value of, we can't have a decline in the amount of money or an aggregate credit or whatever he wants to call it, okay, in a debt-based money system. And so he says, he offers that the Treasury can solve this, and this fits into Bill's concept of what to do about money creation. But Denninger, acknowledges straight out that the Treasury has the authority to issue non-debt-based currency, and therefore money. Now, here's the thing. He goes on to acknowledge that, you could use the per capita method of determining how much the money supply should grow, okay? Or you could, no, that's actually the only thing he discusses. In our program for monetary reform paper, there's, of course, the standard of living measure for growing the money supply. But there becomes some kind of a disconnect between the government's authority to issue debt-free money, period, okay, and the growth in the money supply related to population, but doesn't seem to be related to economic growth. And that's one of the problems of the population basis, because it can grow on a population basis if the metric behind the per population basis is tied into economic growth, but not straight on the basis of economic growth, because if the economy grows faster than the population, then there's a huge gap between the amount of money that's created by the period, I would say, period, whether it's by the government or by private bankers. So that needs to be clarified. The reason why the program for monetary reform and all the other reforms call for creation of the entire money supply by the government debt-free is so that there can be a manageable, accountable control of the money system, of the money supply, and that manageable, reportable, accountable method has to be seen to be generally price stable, that is to say, without inflation or deflation, one of the things that Mr. Denninger seems to believe in. So at another point in the video, he says something about, it doesn't matter if it's created as money, I guess, currency, or it says created as credit. Not currency, but what, but bank credit, more fractional reserve bank credit. Because how do you control bank credit creation? I think he was talking about the growth in the M3 and 10 or 15% a year here, in the run up. Uh, the problem is that we have a method available to us, and he says what the method is, which is the government creation of debt-free money. Period. Period. Only the Congress shall create the nation's money. Only the Congress. Not the Congress shall create the 1% to keep up with population, and the banks will create the 2% to keep up with the 3% of economic growth that we're either achieving or pursuing, or whatever it is. Okay, all I'm saying is it doesn't matter if it's 2% and 1% or 2.5% and 0.5%. Doesn't matter. There's no rationale anywhere, if you're managing the monetary system and the money supply, to have anyone create any money except the government. The supreme prerogative of a sovereign government. Abraham Lincoln said so. Acknowledged so. Not so because he said so. He said so because it is so. So I'm at a loss, to try to square, the corners of monetary reform as is being, put forward and proposed by Bill Still, at this point in time, and to tie it in with Denninger's market analysis, in order to he's trying to tell a bunch of investors what's going to happen, so that he can guide their investments, which is great. Somebody has to guide their investments. I'm not even saying that he's wrong about what might happen without monetary reform. I'm not saying he's wrong at all, not at all. What I'm saying is that there's no explanation as to why the credit part of the aggregate capital, the aggregate, provision of capital, has to be, created. Now, not functionally lent, but created into existence by banks using fractional reserve banking. I want to be really clear about that. Once, I'm just going to use the 2.5%, okay, which is 150% faster than the population growth, okay. That 2.5% of additional money that would be added to the money supply completely, should come exclusively by the government issuing its own monies, and that's as currency, that it pays into existence in the same way that 1% was going to be paid into existence. Okay, so that's the issue, and that's the deal. Maybe somebody can explain that to me. Being a monetary reformer myself, I'm totally of the camp that says I'm a monetary reformer because we're a sovereign nation. The currency and the money system of the nation belongs to all the people, and its creation, the act of its creation, should benefit all the people. Shouldn't benefit to any degree whatsoever, any distinct single group of people, such as bankers. Why should they have the power to enrich themselves using the people's sovereign authority to create money? So that's the wrinkle that I see going on here. And I continue to see it no matter where I turn, and I have to speak up whenever I see it. So again, I hope that both Bill Still and Mr. Denninger will take this question within the context in which it's raised and the spirit in which it's raised, which is to promote better understanding of how money works and what a monetary system is and how to have monetary reform. Thanks very much, guys.